Hey guys, thanks for watching. Maria Mitchell here. I'm going to show you today how to make your own bling for face painting. So I have a little folder here which is originally a photo album. It's super tiny and compact, so it's basically half of the length of an A4 paper. And what I've got here, I've got just a piece of plastic in between both sheets to protect my bling. So I can just put some Pros-Aid on the back of some bling and fix them on the plastic of this photo album. These ones are great for crowns as they sit in between the eyebrows and almost in between the bridge of the nose, and these ones are great for having in between butterfly wings. I have a number of colors and designs, so it's nice to have them laid out like this, so maybe you can give kids an option if they like, and it's just super compact for me. I just have a little clip here which has them on a little triangle form, so it sits there on my kit. Now this is just sitting on the table here, you're looking at it from up above. It's just easy for me to flip through designs, and then when I'm done with it I can just get rid of that clip and pop it into my face painting kit. And they're all protected because there's an extra sleeve that I've added in between them. Some people like to use folders like these with a sleeve in between them to protect the bling. It's all up to you. This is a little bit sticky from the Pros-Aid of the bling that I had there, but if you're wanting to clean that up, you can always use eucalyptus oil to clean up the dry Pros-Aid. So what you will need is a sheet of A4 paper with, say, a little template. You can use gridding paper to help you lay out the diamantes or other things that you want to add as your bling. You can find this A4 printout on my website, letspaint.tv. And if you just grab a plastic A4 protective sheet and just pop it in the middle there, then you're ready to make your bling. So your paper is nicely protected. So we're using fabric glue to glue the diamonds on, or the diamantes, or little whatever you want to use, pearls or seashells, whatever you'd like for your bling. And I've used this plastic sheet several times. I don't like to waste plastic. I prefer reusing it. So once my bling has dried and I've taken it off, I like to use eucalyptus oil just to rub all of the residue off and have a clean piece of A4 protective sheet. So you'll need a plastic sleeve like this, one of my printouts from the letspaint.tv website. You will need some fabric dimensional paint, or glue as you could call it as well. This one's a Tulip brand. I've only used this, I've never used anything else, so I'm super happy with it. The bottle has a very fine nozzle which really helps me bring out those blobs out nicely controlled underneath the diamantes. So it's preferable to get them as a nozzle like that. And I also use the gold one as well. Now these are glitter fabric paint. So it's dimensional fabric paint that puffs, or some people may call it puffy paint. You can also get that as well, but this is the stuff that has either silver or gold, so it's super sparkly and glittery, and it works a treat as it just brings up that bling to look a tad bit sparklier. You will also need some sticks. These are some old cuticle tips that I've had, but you can use skewer sticks or toothpicks, or you can actually get specialized gem pickers, But what I've done with this is I've added some blue tack right at the end of them, which acts just like a gem picker. So if I go to pick up a piece of gem with the blue tack, it would actually just stick to it, which is fantastic. And all I need to do is tap it with the other step to plot it down. But anyway, I'll show you step by step how to do that. So you'll need 2 of these and some tweezers, and I use Peroxide, which is a medical grade water-based adhesive for the skin. It's super safe. You can use Meron's adhesive to add the gem onto children's faces, as it's latex free, just in case anyone is allergic to latex. I normally just ask the child if they are allergic to latex, but this is super safe for kids, and it's also great to glue the final product onto your display folder to show them up, just to have them there nicely displayed, and you know that they're not going to fall off. All you have to do is just detach them. So the gems that you are going to need are going to have a flat back on them. So when searching online on eBay or AliExpress, look for the gems that have a flat back on them. I've bought dozens of these from the internet nicely and cheaply. You can get all sorts of patterns for real reasonable prices online. Then I've also bought these from my local Spotlight, which is a craft store here in Australia. Just a variety of gems. They're just round, but they're in different sizes, which allows you to create bases for crowns. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my gems. I'm going to do a little piece that I normally put below a frozen crown. I'll grab my gem with the flat back, and I'm going to place it right in the middle of this diamond-like shape. So this is quite a great guide because it will pretty much guide you to where you should place your gems. Sometimes it will shift from side to side, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a basic guide. You don't have to make sure that the gems are exactly in place in the middle of that diamond. It's just a rough estimate, and it'll look just fine if it's further to the left or to the right. I'm just going to grab another diamante, which is a smaller one, and what we're going to do here is I'm going to turn it over. These little ones are super tricky to work with, but you get used to it with your picker. That's why the glue tack really helps, because it helps you pick up those pieces. As you can see, it just sticks to them. And when we're placing them on, it's great to flick it back up as we're pressing slightly down with this toothpick. Now that I know what the style will be for this particular bling piece, I'm going to shake up my dimensional fabric paint. As I mentioned before, the nozzle is quite thin, which is going to help me place it nicely. So I'm going to do one little dab where the teardrop of this jewel is thick, and I'm going to make the dab of fabric paint almost half of the size of this, and then I'm going to do another one which is also half of the width of that part of the gem. So if you watch me, I am very gently placing on that much fabric paint, and then above it I'm doing a smaller dab. And what I'm going to do is pick it up. Now this is big enough for me to pick up with my hands, but I'll just give you an example of how we use these tools. So with the other one on my other hand, I'm just going to press it down, which is going to detach it from this pointy edge of where the glue tack is. So now with this flat edge, or you can use the other side, it doesn't really matter. We're just going to press it down. what's going to happen here is it's going to flatten out the fabric paint, and I don't know if you can see, but it's actually spread out around the gem. So we have a layer of fabric dimensional paint around it, which is going to keep the whole piece together. Following this diagonal line that's coming up here, I'm going to put another one spaced out, almost the size of that jewel, and another one on the other side. As I mentioned, sometimes they shift as we're pressing them down, so it doesn't really matter. They don't have to be completely perfect. So pressing it down like that. As I'm lifting this up, I'm pressing this down. And then I'm just going to press it down and I'm pressing it down gently to allow the fabric paint to work its way around the gem. So we want all of that fabric paint to piece in each gem together. Pressing down on this one and then doing exactly the same, tapping that down. It's actually quite therapeutic making gems because it takes a lot of preciseness and just a lot of concentration. Because these are quite small, I'm only going to do a small tiny dot on each side because we don't want too much of a blob on the outside of them. Doesn't matter if there is, it just takes a little bit more time to have them dry. That one fell on top. Just going to press it down. Causes a little blob around it. And the same with that one. Now that's all ready to go to set and dry. Normally it would take about 8 hours to dry. I normally leave it overnight. And again, I'm going to lay out my glue because it's a love heart. I'll do one dot here, one dot here, and a smaller dot right down the bottom. With this paint, it takes a bit of time to get used to the flow of it coming down. So just practice a few times and you'll get used to the flow of it coming down, and you'll get used to controlling how much actually comes onto the sheet. So pressing it on there. With this one, I'll just use my finger. Pressing it down, we can see the blob around it. And now what I'll do, as I mentioned, sometimes they will shift from the grid, and that's completely fine. I'll do another dot here, which is half the diameter or the size of these gems. So, whoops. Make sure you press right down and tapping it over. If they shift, just put them in place. It doesn't need to be completely perfect. Placing it and pressing down. So there we have some simple designs for any bling that you might like to use. As I said, you can really get creative and create some really pretty designs for these sorts of things. You get all sorts of nice gems out there. You can use triangles, rectangles, really pretty things, and add some, gem clusters around them, and they will look just perfect. You might sometimes need to use your tweezers if, say, you've got a gem that accidentally falls off your tip and you need to put it back in place. That's where the tweezers help. So we'll let these dry out overnight, somewhere where they can't be disturbed. And then tomorrow in the morning, I'll fill you in on what we do to have them completely ready to have them displayed on our little folders. Thanks for watching. If you got something out of this, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any face painting related questions or you need something that you need clarified, make sure you comment down below and I'll do my absolute best to share my knowledge with you in the next video. I'm on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to follow me so we don't miss each other for the next one. Until next time, happy painting!